preservation techniques of the previous century couldn't withstand the constant barrage of natural elements on the coastal regions of the hemispheres. With contemporary conservation techniques, we've been able to literally reach into the archives of the ancient cultures from early 21st century and bring works forward into the new...
새거? 야, 뭐가? I'm just gonna break on yoga la hoy. Yeah. I'm going another nase, Get a gear. Yeah, I'm excited to see. Yeah. I love you too, Mom. Okay, Ona. I'll call you. Okay, Ona, Mom.
Thank you. Yes. Oh.
Oh my God. What?
Eve?
Strauss.
You're predictably late.
My cast was running late.
And that pantsuit. I can't believe you got an invitation. You must have turned in your trauma at the right time, Some of us have to make it in here the old-fashioned way. You're sure you're even ready for this?
Just gonna stand there, you're gonna help me.
You seem to be doing just fine all by your woesome. Whatever. Fresh meat, right? Who knows? Maybe you'll get to be the appetizer. What's with the shitty wine?
So, have you seen Phaedra's newest exhibit?
I haven't seen it yet.
It is as it was.
Some have said it was a bit one note.
Brilliant. If you think it was one note, then you certainly didn't get it.
Everyone hated it, right? I thought maybe I liked it.
I was riveted the entire time.
I don't know.
I mean, so primal, so raw. And the title, 2020, as both a callback to that year in history and the notion of hindsight.
The wife and I saw it last Saturday. Unlike you monsters, I've got nothing against pop art. You get your nibble and then you move on.
Democritus, you say that about all art you think lacks depth. Just give it enough grace to at least be considered art.
Well, 200 years ago, yeah, all right. But show me the birth of AI. Show me primitive computers and cities before the third cultural collapse. That excites me. But this, This just sits you on the edge of a cliff overlooking the ocean to stare out at the sunrise.
And there we have it. The truth is finally coming out. And what about you?
I think I'm a little in the dark here. I haven't been to the exhibit. I've obviously heard all about it. It's all the chatter at the gallery. What's it about?
Phaedra is nothing short of a genius. Did you know that she grew up on a small Polynesian island, completely cut off from screens and civilization?
It's that one exhibit, the one down near the metro, where they make you wear the full silicone covering over your entire body. Full sensory experience.
Oh, sounds incredible. I'll have to make sure I get down to check it out.
It's interesting. But you live right there.
No, I've been so busy at the gallery and trying to get my homework.
You should go.
It's a reflection of how things used to be. The primitive people before contact.
It really wasn't her best work. I thought that her last work, the one on macrobiological systems, was far superior.
It really is the message we need to be hearing today.
Do we really miss the simple life? Or do we just miss the life we had before everything was exploited? I'm going to the washroom, and there better be a better conversation happening here when I get back.
Let's begin. As you all know, it's been a very troubling year for all of us. They are literally outside that door. Soon it will all begin to slip through our hands. I believe I have a solution. We're going to play a little game. In the invitations that we sent you, we asked you to bring an item. A personal item, an offering, but no ordinary offering. This needs to be something that matters more to you than anything else in the entire world. Okay? And just like show and tell, we're all going to take a turn around the table to show our items and explain their significance. But if for an instance, you are not sincere and the item is not the closest thing to your heart, it, along with you and every piece of art you have ever created, will vanish for eternity. So if you wouldn't mind just writing your names on the little piece of papers I've left for you, we can get started.
Well, I suppose now is as good a time as any. Someone's got to go first. The first thing that I remember as a young child is the scent of lilies as they weighted themselves down to the windowsill in the kitchen. And also a painting done by Max Ernst that lived just behind the kitchen sink. I was a frail child and often sick. I grew up in a small cabin in the woods. And as time wavered through my youth, I would often find myself reaching for the killing jar. I would consume these tiny insects. It became quite the hobby. I would befriend them with doe-like eyes, and even have the sense of self to give them names from time to time. I found that it would help me feel much less guilty if I gifted them names with families and stories and dreams. And when I had my fill, I would fall asleep in the long grass. It was there and then where I felt like I could escape over the edges of the earth. I found myself asleep long past the evening sun. And I would half awake to the floating sensation of my mater, cupping me in her hands, struggling to hold me close to her heart. She would carry me through the woods under a midnight June. And sometimes I thought she was taking me there to bury me. For I was always broken and alone, you see. My lungs were smashed between the seatbelt and the autobus. My father and my mater were made of dirty fingernails and peasant's wart. And the television in our two-bedroom apartment was flickering night and day, as some moons would wane, while suns waxed on like the dew-lit drops of teenage angst. For some reason, I can't seem to forget the melting butter dish, smelling of cigarettes and stillborn crumbs. I was woken every morning by the rustling of sun rays, pulling the blinds apart by the eyelids, every Saturday morning. And when I wade through the halls in high school, I found the first person to give me just a second of consideration. Her father was a carpenter. She laid across an empty bed one evening, while the three-penny opera played on a distant record player. We smoked cigarettes and read Éluard to each other all evening. I paused that moment for as long as I could. It caressed gently between my fingertips. And in that moment, I felt what I can only describe as being completely and utterly enraptured in fear. She stole me. And the only thing that I could think to do in the moment, well, was to steal this.
Touching. Love lost and a tragic past are weapons of the dregs. Yes. Yes. No, I understand. No, everything's fine. They resigned, both of them. Of course. Everything's going as expected. Okay. Bye. All right. Who's next?
Save it. Don't bother. I'm going to go. I've brought this. I grew up in Maine. My childhood memories are filled to the brim with corduroy licorice and the sound of Led Zeppelin playing from the back of my stepfather's '77 Firebird. Every summer, my aunt would come down to visit us from Montreal. "End of days out there," she would exclaim. Artists everywhere. People coming from all over the world. It seemed like such a magical place at the time. Hell, you could even get a small studio apartment just from what you made in art sales. Sometimes in July, sometimes in August, she would drive down in her little green Beetle, and you could hear the Stones playing from 1.5 miles away. I drove into the station with a suitcase in my hand. I'm sure she was happy to be away from her abuser for a couple of weeks. She brought with her a loosely packed suitcase, her art supplies, and a case of wine. Those first nights were always about her travels across Europe and the many suitors that she had. I'll always remember the story of this married French fellow she had an affair with. He had a large studio space in Paris, and she spoke of him like a love letter between two people separated by war. With great exuberance, she spoke of how her and this fellow would sometimes collide in the back seat of a taxi on the way back to the studio. And there they would lay naked for days, and he would teach her and capture her with the intensity of a Van Meegeren. The morning after all the wine and revelry, she would set up her easel on our front porch. She would take out all of her art supplies and place it lovingly within her reach, and then she would begin to paint. I would just sit and watch her. I remember her bra strap falling off her shoulder as she dipped the point into the paints before putting it onto the canvas. I studied her movements, the way she held the brush, the way she dipped the brush into the paints. While I watched her, she told me how great artists steal, and how African Americans had their ideas stolen from them to create the light bulb, cubism, and rock and roll. She taught me everything I know about art and the beauty of mimicry. She taught me how to paint the light dancing in a Van Gogh, how to compose like Rubens, and how to perfectly recreate the drip technique of a Pollock. She had every master style down to a T. She was the most talented woman I'd ever met in my entire life. Never famous, never asking anything from the art world. So, Isabel, if there are people knocking at this door like you say they are, I say let them in.
I know why you've invited me here tonight.
Enlightenment.
Fear.
Don't be afraid, darling.
Not mine, yours.
Surely.
What do you think will happen when you tell your story? When you put yourself out there?
What do you think will happen when that door is forced open?
Without us, real art will disappear into another dark age.
How can you be so certain?
Because art can only get better in cultures of prosperity.
I can't imagine this dark age you're speaking of. I know this, though. The world is quickly changing. People are becoming less and less interested with the works you place on these walls. We've fallen out with the words in this gallery. We've fallen in love with the pictures sprawled across alleyways.
To the streets, then? That's your solution.
To the community?
I refuse to exist in a system that forces me to feed on people like yourself. A system where, in order for me to succeed, I must first destroy you.
You're a tourist. You're not even good enough to be a custodian in this room. Art is violence. And like many of our favorite human qualities, it was born in violence. When Neanderthals first etched their libraries onto the walls of the caves where they slept protected, they forever changed our relationship and understanding of our place in the universe. They hid from their predators and carved their stories. They celebrated the hunts and their rituals told by firelight. They learned how to communicate with each other, how to become the predators themselves, and how to conquer the natural world.
Isabel.
You don't get to deny us. Without us, there is no you.
And I'm certain it's always been the other way around.
Well, you've certainly made room for yourself at our table.